Hello everybody and welcome to this Reliv Ignition webinar. Our mission of course is to nourish the world in mind, body and spirit, and our 3-year vision for Reliv Asia Pacific is to achieve sales of US $1 million per month. Our top priorities continue to be to increase our key performance indicators, to develop our brand awareness through social media strategy, increasing our online capabilities, and of course to get our distributors to drive towards director, because that is where you really start to build an organization and a business whereby you can earn the overrides and long-term residual income. This week we're going to be talking about sponsoring distributors, part 3. We talked about the 7 steps involved in sponsoring distributors, and of course part 3 is questioning, and questioning is a very important part of that process. And to kick it off, what we need to talk about is the objective is to identify your prospect's needs. So the person that you're speaking to, you need to understand what it is that they need in their life. You need to discover what's called their hot buttons. Now the hot buttons are not always something that they realize, not always something that they're conscious of. And quite frankly, sometimes people emotionally are so attached to their hot buttons, but intellectually they actually don't realize where it's at, and quite often it's very emotional. Someone's hot button can be very, very emotional. It can be revolved around family, it can be revolved around their lifestyle, it can be revolved around many different things, but it's up to us through our questioning to actually discover what those hot buttons are. Building rapport and trust is so important, and I'll tell you what, when you do this, it demonstrates an interest in them. One of the worst things you can do is give people lip service, where they're talking, you've asked them a question, they are answering the question, but what you're waiting to do, you're sitting there waiting to impart your knowledge upon them and speak again the moment they stop speaking. You need them to see that you are interested, because trust me, people understand. People understand whether you're listening and whether you are interested in what it is that they are saying. Because the meeting, as it says here, is about their needs, not how much you know. It's not about taking the opportunity to spend 5 or 10 or 15 minutes letting everybody know, letting them know how much you know about our products and about how amazing our opportunity is. It's not about that. It is about them. It's about their needs, and it's about you asking questions to find out. So use open questions, or open-ended questions they're sometimes called. And they're questions that often start with what, when, where, or how. A really good question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? When you ask a question like that, it requires descriptive answers. People need to talk about how they feel. If people don't have an answer to that question, then the question is still relevant, because all you need to do is prompt them. So you ask someone, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? And they go, oh gee, I don't know, I've never really thought about that. Well, ask them, well, okay, where do you see yourself in 1 year? And they go, well, I don't know, I've never really thought about that. So what you can say, so you've actually never thought about your future. Is that true? And they'll say yes or no. That's a yes or no answer. Say, well, why don't we sit down now and think about what it is you'd like? Would you like to improve your lifestyle? Would you like to be exactly where you are today? Would you like to be doing something different? Would you like to be driving a nice car? Would you like to be living in a nice house? It's all about asking questions and qualifying people as you go. The key, though, to the questions about asking a what, when, where, or how question is it gets them talking. So how do you feel about earning $100,000 a year? When you ask a question like that about how someone feels, it makes them stop and think about exactly what it is that they want to do. Okay. When you're questioning, the key is to listen carefully, because I will tell you that everything that you need to know to get somebody on board to make a sale, they will tell you if you ask enough questions. But you have to show interest because you want them to engage with you. And let me tell you something, you need to write down the important points. And you only need to write down one word, 1 or 2 words at each of the important points. And it's okay to say to someone right at the start, is it okay with you if I take notes as we go? Would it be okay with you if I take notes as we go? I have never in my entire career had someone say no. People will say yes, of course. Find out what people are passionate about. And if you ask the questions and you listen as they talk, you will find what they're passionate about. Now, if you're in their house, there may be things around that will actually give you a clue to it. If you just chat to people, get them talking, people will start to talk about what they're passionate about. It's about engaging people in conversation. It's not about being so absolutely, totally focused on asking questions that, yes, these are the questions I must ask and these are the answers you must give. No, it's not that. It's asking questions and engaging people to get them talking and chatting. And the more relaxed somebody is, the more likely they are to just chat away and give you all of the information that you need to know. And a really key area is, where are they unhappy? And remember, I've said many times in webinars and in trainings, it's about form, F-O-R-M, family, occupation, recreation, and money. People will be unhappy in one of those areas. And I'll tell you the 2 key areas where people are unhappy is occupation and money. And I guarantee that you will find, if you ask the right questions, you will find that people will be unhappy in one of these areas. While you're questioning and while they're answering, it's important for you to interpret the information that's coming to you. So you have to quietly analyze what they are saying. How does it fit with your objective? And you've got to process this as they're talking without losing concentration, without losing focus on what you are doing, without losing that sense of showing them that you are interested in what they're saying. And it's important to reflect. So you need to describe to them how the Reliv opportunity and or products address their needs. If you've been listening and taking notes, you will be able to do this, because one of the key things is to bring things back to that central perceived benefit, which is associated to their needs, which is something that you will identify as they answer their questions, your questions, and they just chat to you. You will find more about a person in a conversation when they are just feeling relaxed and chatting than you will in any other way. So the other thing is, it's important to confirm. You need to repeat what you've agreed is the match between their needs and your offering. So if they're talking about the fact that they're not making enough money, they're really struggling to make ends meet, then your offering is this amazing opportunity that we have in Reliv from a business opportunity point of view. And it's bringing the little pieces together and going through the pieces that you've spoken about and the questions that they've answered and the information that they've given you. Alternatively, if it's about the products, it's about their need to want to feel better, have more energy, sleep better, whatever it is that their needs are related to our products. And let me tell you, and I want to make this very clear, people go all over the place trying to match what people want, etc., etc. The number one product that our company has that you should be focused on selling to people is now. If people start taking now on a regular daily basis, their body will start to come into balance, and then you can actually work with them on the other products. Now, in some of our Reliv Asia Pacific countries, we will have a situation where people will be buying now and Lunar Rich X. In other countries where we don't have Lunar Rich X, it's about the Vitality Pack. It is about now, Fiber Store, and Energize. but be focused on what it is that you want to sell to them from a product point of view, if that is the case. Don't get distracted. Stay focused. Now, when it comes time to close the sale and get people across the line and you're qualifying them, it's important for you to ask what's called closed questions, where there is a yes or no answer. And the way to do that is really simple. Is that correct? Wouldn't you, didn't you, aren't you? You said you were interested in earning an extra $300 per month, didn't you? That's a yes or no answer. You said you would love to be able to sleep better, didn't you? That is a yes or no question. It'd be great to be able to have more energy every day, wouldn't it? That is a yes or no answer. Asking questions like this, it requires a definitive response, yes or no. It allows you to assess if you're heading in the right direction. And this is important. You need to qualify as you go. Because if you're not qualifying people as you go, you could be heading off in a completely wrong direction. It's important. You want to hear the yes or no answers. It's okay for someone to say no, because what it says to you is, I'm heading in the wrong direction. I need to shift tack. I need to look at the notes I've made, have a look at what their needs were, have a look at the hot buttons, have a look at the information they've given me, and get back on track to address their needs. That's what I need to do. And I tell you, and I cannot tell you how important it is not to interrupt people. Again, I say, it is not about what you know and telling people what you know and spending 5 or 10 minutes sharing with the world how much you know about the Reliv products or Reliv opportunity. It is actually about listening to them and giving them the correct or relevant information at the appropriate point in time. Sometimes it's better to say 3 or 4 words than it is to give them an absolute monologue that's going to last for 3 or 4 minutes. They should be doing 80% of the talking because, as I've said time and again, they will tell you what you need to know. As the old saying goes, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you talk. I cannot tell you in my career how often I've seen salespeople talk themselves out of a sale because they just keep giving too much information. And look, don't jump in. Let them finish. Respond accordingly. Listen to what they're saying to you. Don't just say to them what you've had stored up here. I'm here, I'm listening. Oh yeah, they're saying something. I don't know what it is they're saying, but I've got this information here. I need to tell them this information. I actually have no idea what they've just said, but they've stopped. Blah, 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 blah. No, that's not how you do it. You listen to what they're saying. You let them finish. You assimilate what they're saying. You process it. And you give them a response that is relevant to what they just said to you. That's so important. Remember, questioning is an essential part of a facilitative process whose purpose is to help the buyer decide. Questioning is an essential part of a facilitative process whose purpose is to help the buyer decide. So what you're doing is that you are bantering back and forth with something, having a conversation, having a dialogue to get to a point where they understand through what's happened through that dialogue and that conversation that they can make a decision of which way they need to go. And of course, then we talk about closing the sale. But of course, that comes in another part of this series of webinars. But it's important, as we've said in each part of this process of these series of webinars, remember that the process is a journey. You are just guiding your guest along the path to success. And I want to share this with you from Dennis and Wendy Mannering. Attitudes are contagious. Are yours worth catching? Because let me tell you something. You can be technically perfect in how you go about something and how you follow the process and how you stick to the system. Absolutely, technically perfect. But if you don't have the right attitude, it won't matter. because they will pick it up. And attitude is the most important thing above all else, because you will make more product sales, you will get more people involved in the business, in your organization, through your positive attitude than any other. So what I want to do now is I want to talk to you about the Take the Lead events that are coming up. Of course, in November, we have our leadership camps that are happening in each of the different markets throughout Asia Pacific. You need to go to the website and check out the criteria and make sure that you are working towards this. The leadership camp is such an important part. If you want to really build a business, you need to be at leadership camp and you need to do what you need to do. And let me tell you, I've never seen criteria easier than what is required to make it to these leadership camps. So please, if you want to create financial independence through your Reliv business, make sure that you qualify for these leadership camps, and also for the countries that have their national conference coming up. Register now, and every time you sign up a new distributor, register them at the point of sign up. Register them for national conference, because it allows you to see the bigger picture. Again, it is so important. You must be at national conference if you want to create financial independence. And remember, every week the webinar is advised via email and Facebook. So keep your eyes open. Make sure you log in. Make sure you listen to every webinar each week, and get out there, sponsor, promote, advance, and ignite your business. And thank you, everybody. I want to thank you for being on this webinar, and talk to you next time.